Hello, everyone, and welcome to this special webinar where I, Sammy Mira, will teach you how to create healthy spaces. The strategies that I'm bringing here for you today are proven strategies. My partner, Felipe Boni, and I have gathered these strategies over our 15 years of experience working in a construction field. A great deal of the content of this webinar was presented last year already, but I don't think people were ready or completely ready to listen and take action in what I will present today. We decided to talk about this because the scenario now is very different, and many people actually are reaching out to us and asking to revisit this content. We obviously made the necessary adjustments, but let me tell you, a healthy home is always great anytime, if we are facing a pandemic or not. People today are valuing their health and well-being much more, especially now that our well-being is at stake. And I'm not judging anyone. This is completely normal. We only value certain things after we lose them. My partner, Felipe Boni, had a close encounter with a very serious respiratory issue. I will tell you a little bit more later, but this was the turning point where he started to pay closer attention to the way that we face our homes, the way we see our environment, and how we bring health into it. I worked in healthcare and educational projects for many years, so I started understanding a good part of these strategies and what was the importance of them to the mind and the body of the users. Health spaces promote better responses from our cognitive systems and from our body. It is well known, the information that nowadays we spend 90% of our lives indoors. And this was before the COVID-19 pandemic. Now we are probably spending a much higher percentage of time indoors. And we definitely thought that this would be a great idea to revisit the content about healthy homes. The idea was to make it available to as many architects, engineers, and interior designers as possible. So we can transform our spaces into an environment that can actually contribute and enhance our health and well-being. For you not to miss anything or get distracted during this lecture, I will ask you to mute your cell phone, close all the other windows on your browser so you can optimize your internet connection, and please pick up pen and paper to take notes. I will start here giving you a scenario for you to imagine. How do you think looks like a place that enhances your focus by 48%? A place where you can enhance your lessons absorption by 26%, and that also improves your sleep by 9.4%. I can hear your thoughts. You're probably thinking these numbers are way too specific, Sammy. Of course, they are very specific because these numbers came from a Harvard University study, which was called CogFX. And they have analyzed all the effect that a green, healthy building have on the behavior and well-being of the users. And this study goes even deeper, but I just brought some numbers to get your mind going. I will teach you how to get to this level of health and sustainability in your spaces right here in this webinar. So if you're still wondering if this webinar is for you, see if you can fit in one of these categories. If you are an architect, an interior designer, an engineer, or anybody working in the construction field that can want to be part of this movement, a movement that wants to make a change for the better in the construction field and the constructed spaces that we are offering to our clients. If you see yourself in any of these categories, this webinar is for you. And I'm going to give you a quick warning here before I start the actual content. And number one, this webinar will have two parts. And on the second part, we would like your permission. If you see yourself in any of these categories, this webinar is for you. And I'm going to give you a quick warning here before I start the actual content. And number one, this webinar will have two parts. And on the second part, we would like your permission to make an offer. We would like to offer one of our courses. That is how we make this kind of free events possible. They are the sponsors of our free content. The courses, they don't only pay for our salaries, but they also pay for more and more free content. We are committed to give you the best content we have in this 1 hour webinar. After that, we will open for questions and also to our offer, should you, of course, allow us. So please answer in the chat box if I can make you an offer, yes or no. So while you're writing your answers, and I'm checking here, I can see many yeses already, I'm going to tell you that we are offering this content should you like what I will present and decide to go deeper in this subject. Yes, I see. Well, I have one no, but I have more yeses than no. So thank you. This is a great sign that you may be considering make your projects better and more sustainable. So let me get started here and finally present myself to you. I am Sammy Mira, your presenter today. I graduated with a BR from Florida Atlantic University. Right after my graduation, I knew I wanted to know more about sustainable architecture. So my first move was to get my LEED AP credentials. And I have spent every year of my career working in the construction field and enhancing my knowledge in sustainability. The first half of my career, I was in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where for many years I worked at a firm called Harvard Jolly. Harvard Jolly is a well-established architectural firm with a very diverse portfolio. I worked in many educational and some healthcare projects. Many of them actually got LEED certified. And when I moved to Brazil, I started working with consultancy, where I was able to collaborate in many projects, also seeking the LEED certification. Today, I am a partner at Green. My partner, Felipe Boni, is an architect and also a LEED AP BDNC. He has an extensive portfolio with over 30 projects that he has designed and worked with the most recognized firms and construction management companies in the south of Brazil. So here on the screen, you can see some of his projects. So you see here a lot of high rises. Some of them are residential, some are commercial. He is specialized in high performance facades. And now you can see some of the projects that I worked while I was with Harvard Jolly in the United States. And today we both manage a company called Green, where we offer services such as sustainable consultancy for projects interested in efficiency and sustainability. And we also have a learning platform where we share our knowledge in sustainable architecture with other professionals in the construction field. So we're constantly sharing a lot of our contents on our social medias. Yes, We have a lot of free content on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and we have our own blog on our website. And we use these channels to share as much knowledge as we can to promote a lot of sustainability, to promote a lot of the changes that we want to see in a construction field. Because of this, we have a lot of exposure to projects and people in the construction field, and we have a very good picture of the scenario that we're working with. And let me tell you, sometimes it does not look very good. Many people don't know how much a well-designed space can be helpful to their health and to their well-being. It is hard to get some of the objections out of the way, and because of this, we have seen that our biggest challenge is to educate people about the benefits and the investments that they are making in themselves, in their health, when they are working with sustainability. Another point we had very clear since the beginning is that we truly wanted to impact the construction field in a positive way. We needed to get as many people as we could and bring them closer. And that is why we have the learning platform. This is our biggest triumph, as we can multiply our positive effects on people's career. These effects will multiply to the environment. And when you bring this kind of project to your portfolio, you will see that you have better profits too. And please, break that taboo. You can make money while you are doing good things for the planet and good things to your career and good things to your client. It is okay to make a good profit if you are offering a good service. So here's our conclusion. Our conclusion was, if alone Ugreen started working with consultancies and we did the best we could, we would have a certain amount of projects per year and our impact wouldn't be as big as we wanted. How to grow this faster was to actually use our platform. Make at least 1,000 people making better projects. This was the kind of progress and the mission that we decided to work with. We want sustainability to multiply, and this is why we put together our free content, we put together webinars, and we will give you access in this webinar to 5 of our working strategies, and these are strategies that we use to make healthy spaces. And when I say working, it's because I am still using them every day, all day, and I see the result. But let me break some news here to you. The majority of the professionals working in the construction field has no clue that these strategies are good practice, nor that they are being used to promote health benefits. And now we see a lot more people caring about healthy spaces and caring about the quality of these spaces that they are inserted in. So think with me, why take so much care of your health with exercises, spending on good food, if you don't take this home, and literally home? You eat well, you exercise, you have your plans, and maybe you even meditate. But what happens with all of this if you go to work inside of a sick building? Or why if your shelter, your home, it's unfit for the lifestyle you actually want to have? Because your house does not reflect the health that you are trying to bring in by eating well, by exercising, by meditating, by taking care of your body. But I will show you that this is not difficult to change, but you need to change your mind. And the great advantage of creating healthy projects is that you will need to make this only once, probably, to each client, of course. but you will act only once, and then it's just maintenance and quick updates. Your healthy design will stay with the people for all their lives if they wish. People are going to enjoy this space for a very long time. Remember that at the beginning of this webinar, the very beginning, I mentioned that my partner Felipe had a very close encounter with some serious respiratory disease. And this was back in 2014. And the problem was, despite his apartment being a very nice apartment, beachfront apartment, great view, but unfortunately, that doesn't make any difference when you have serious problems in your home. And the problem he had was that a bacteria called Legionella pneumophila had gotten into his AC filter, and it was spreading this problem silently. Sometimes we don't notice that the enemy lives inside of our homes, and depending on the type of this enemy, we don't even notice it is acting until much later. My partner actually thought he was not feeling well due to stress. Once he realized it was not stress, he moved into thinking about the lack of a routine in his exercises. And then he started looking for the problem in his diet. Maybe it was malnutrition or something that was not right with the way he was eating. He thought of many things before he actually started taking action, before he got to a point where he couldn't live with himself anymore and he went to a doctor. And you guys know, a lot of men don't like to go to the doctor. But anyways, that was the only way that he was able to identify his problem. He was not sure, and he was always trying to find a solution in some other things, but he was experiencing in his own life the problem called sick building syndrome. A problem that has grown a lot more in the modern days because we are spending a lot of time indoors, and sometimes we don't give the maintenance and we don't give the care and love that these places deserve to make it healthy and to create and promote our health. And if you are a newbie to the name sick building syndrome, let me tell you some of the effects that this syndrome can have on your health. And some of these effects are the development of allergies, chronic headaches, difficult breathing, irritation in your throat or in your eyes, that burning eye sensation. Some people experience itching of the skin, and in the worst case scenario, it can also cause cancer. So this is a very serious matter, and we all should be aware of it, but we still have a lot of this around the world. And I would like you to put here on the chat box, right here on the side, what is the percentage of sick buildings in the world today? What do you think? 10%, 20%, 30, 50, up to 90%. Please tell me here right on the side, what is the percentage of sick buildings today around the globe? Okay, I'm waiting a little bit here. Some of you are already putting down the right answer. Some of you are very, very pessimist. I can see that. All right. So let me tell you the answer. And the answer is 30%. And this percentage reflects buildings of all types. Small buildings, large buildings, luxurious buildings, very, very simple buildings. It doesn't matter if you have an ocean view or not an ocean view. This syndrome doesn't pick sides. And this is very much like the COVID-19. It doesn't pick sides. Here in Brazil, we actually had a very famous politician that died from Legionella. He was the Minister of Communications at that time, and he died in 1998. So as you can see, we have here two ways to approach this. One way is to make what is worse better, and to make what is good even better. So we have an opportunity to not let people get sick in your building, but we also have an opportunity to enhance their health while working with architecture and sustainability to promote this enhancement in their lives. So we have things and we have a lot of work that we can do in our projects to make this happen. So you need to see yourself healing these spaces and improving these spaces. So let's go back to that study that I mentioned from Harvard University called the COG-FX. And this study analyzes the impact of green buildings on cognitive functions. The way you think, the way you judge things, the way you memorize things, your perception of things, all this can be affected by the environment that you are inserted in. So let's see some numbers here. And the first number that I'm gonna throw at you is that your mental performance can be enhanced by 26%. So think if you were designing for a space where people are taking tests inside of this space and they need this performance. They need to think clearly, they need to act fast, and you can control this. And you can also control the quality of their sleep. And you have the power to improve an average of 6.4% the quality of their sleep. So one thing I want you to understand is that the majority of the strategies that I'm going to show you right now can be done by you. You can work on these strategies and make a difference in your projects. So now that I have given you all this context, I would like you to answer for me here on the chat box if you are ready to go over these strategies with me. Please say yes on the chat box. Yes, everybody really wants to go to the content. Let's go, Sammy. Yes. And the first one that we will talk about here is respiratory health. And we chose to talk about this one first because it's the one that everybody wants to know. You know, we're facing here a virus today that affects a lot our respiratory system, and we have ways to minimize this contamination. And this could be done by assuring that the spaces will have a high level of air quality. And we do that by bringing ventilation to these spaces. You know, contamination can be minimized 60% if you get ventilation right. And how do you do that? You have to analyze your bioclimatic zone, and you have to find in your area what is the code for the minimum openings and how you get this cross ventilation going. In some spaces, you were not going to be able to have natural ventilation, which to me is the best. But sometimes you cannot play with that. And if you are not allowed or you are not able to get natural ventilation going in your project, then you need to be very careful with the systems that you choose and that this system will attend the amount of ventilation needed for the space you created, and also the type of filters that you'll be using in your systems. One thing it's very important to know is that today you can gather the data from your region and you can simulate this with a software. So it's very easy for you. You can do that. The second point we're talking about here under respiratory health is organization and cleanliness of the spaces. And one way to maintain a space clean, it's not bringing all the dirt in. Oh, that did sound like very genius of me, right? But a lot of people do not know how to create these spaces so as you walk into a building, you will leave the dust out. So in a commercial building, you can use mats, door mats that are between 9 and 10 feet long, and they will take care of that first walk that you go in, and then it will clean your shoes, and a lot of this will be left out. So this dust will not compromise the air quality, and it will not get inside the filters as easy. And if this refers to an individual house, then you will have to create pathways where the owner of this house will be able to walk and also will be cleaning his shoes along the way until he gets to his doormat, and his doormat will be smaller, so he needs to have different approaches here so that he can create the same effect that we will have in a commercial building when you have that very long mat. And still under organization and cleanliness, we must say that you have to create spaces where the people can use for storage, and it can be easily accessible, and the person can clean every once in a while, so this space is not there gathering dust all the time and actually not serving the purpose of organization. It's rather serving the purpose of dumping. And we don't want that. We want a space that invites organization and cleanliness. Another way to promote respiratory health is avoiding cross-contamination in between the spaces. Know where your air intakes are, that they are not near any garages or exhausts, like kitchen exhausts, etc. All this needs to be very careful, and you need to look into have the spaces independently receiving this mechanical ventilation. So like I said, we don't create this cross-contamination. Imagine if you are in one room and you start sneezing and coughing and it gets to the next room. This is very important when we talk about this virus. The control of the pandemic is to isolate the spaces and not be able to transmit this virus through the air. And if you have this problem in your building where you don't have control over this cross-contamination of these spaces, that you cannot afford to have one sick person in your building because this person will contaminate everyone. So you see how serious this is for you to be careful with how you design the circulation of air in your spaces, and also the type of filter that you will have. When we talk about the control of diseases and the control, a high level of control in the air quality, we're talking about filters MERV 13, MERV 13. Or perhaps higher. Also, we need to control the humidity in the spaces. This also needs to be taken into consideration because when you have a climate that it's cold and dry, you have a space that it's more likely to transmit a virus. And not just that, but when your space is too dry, it can cause different allergies to be triggered too, and you will have other respiratory problems. And respiratory problems lower your immune system, and having your immune system down, you are exposed. And just to close a little bit when we're talking about organization and cleanliness, I know that this is something that we've been talking about a lot now. It's something that before we used to stress out on our webinar, but today we don't have anymore because people are all the time thinking about being clean and keeping the spaces clean so they are safer. When you talk about products, cleaning products, make sure that you can use sustainable cleaning products. You have many sustainable cleaning products that are very effective on killing the virus. Another way to control the air quality is controlling the amount of VOCs that you have in the air, the volatile organic compounds. And these are organic chemicals that have a very high vapor pressure at room temperature. So these compounds, they can get into the air and they can also cause cancer, they can cause allergies, they can make you feel sick, have headaches, and everything because of that typical smell of wet paint or that smell of new furniture, the smell that you like so much, that is when you walk into your new car. All those smells, they are actually not supposed to give you any good feelings because they are the VOCs. So hopefully you will be able to encounter ever material or ever furniture that does not have VOCs. And today the market is very much aware of this problem and this danger that the VOCs can cause to your respiratory system. So a lot of the glues, the adhesives, the paints, all of this already are available with low or no VOCs. Also, furniture. You have to be very careful, especially with the wood fiber furniture that we use a lot in built-ins. So we have to be very careful with that. In case you are not able to find something with no VOCs or with low VOCs, you will have to perform a flush out of these spaces. And this flush out needs to be measured. You can contract a company that can work with this, but it's very important that before you move your clients into this space, you have this space flushed out and clean so they don't have any contaminants when they walk in. And the information that you need from different products, you need to ask your supplier. And this is another battle that I want you to join me, but it's basically what I want is for you to ask your supplier for information, to ask industry to be more transparent and to bring the information that we need so we can choose better products to the spaces that we are designing. And to help with the filtration of the VOCs, you can use plants. Many studies now have put together information about the benefits of having different plants indoors. And why is that? They notice that the level of VOCs outside is often 10 times lower than the VOCs that are concentrated indoors. And one of the reasons that this study pointed was the presence of plants, the presence of greenery. And here is a list of the plants that are most effective to clean indoor air. So the first one is the English ivy. Then we have the Boston fern, the peace lily, the spider plant, which is very small too, you can have that, the dwarf date palm, the Gerbera daisy. These 6 plants are very effective into cleaning the air and limiting the amount of VOCs in the air. And of course, having a plant inside helps your cognitive system too, because looking at the green also works magic in your brain and you will have a better life quality if you use biophilic design approach. So here ends item number 1, which was the respiratory health. And now we move to number 2. And number 2 is thermal health. And thermal health has to do with the amount of energy that you are spending with your AC and also the amount of energy that the people that are in your designed space are spending. And why am I saying that? I'm saying this because in a place where you're not comfortable with the temperature, you don't produce as well. So you actually lose production, lose learning attention because you are not in a well-balanced space where you're comfortable with the temperature and you start getting problems aside of your energy bill. And having control of the temperature in the different spaces also will help to satisfy the people that are working with or that you are working with, because sometimes you have a difference on temperature perception by male and female. And sometimes it's the type of tasks that they are performing in this space that may need more or less of temperature control. So all this you need to take in consideration. Thermal comfort is something that we can also simulate today with softwares. We have many softwares that can do that. And here you can see how a variation on temperature can affect the person that is working. So if you start right there, you had at 0 degrees, you had 10 people working, and suddenly with the increase of the temperature, you also increase your loss of productivity. And just so you are aware, what you've seen on the table, it's not the actual temperature, but it's the actual amount of degrees over the average temperature that this room should be reflecting. And here also we must say that the finishes that you choose to put into this project are very important for you to make sure that you are using rugs, that you're using carpet, or you're not using these items to create a thermal comfort. And not just rugs, you can use actually curtains to help you with the thermal control. And curtains are one of the items that you can use as window treatments. You can also create, depending on the region that you are, you can design some shade devices that will be very welcome in the hot summer of some regions. But first, you should start with the cheaper solutions for this space and then go into something that can affect systems and that can affect structurally your space. One thing that I always recommend my clients to use and that I did not present to you here yet is thermal control. And when you have a space that is shared by many people, it is important that they have a certain amount of individual control. Like perhaps you can separate this space by zoning, or you can separate by rooms. And if you do separate by rooms, each room should have its thermostat. Also for thermal control, you should have control of the direction of the sun and the amount of sun that you want to take in this building. So we know that in regions that are hotter, that you can avoid the sun, especially in the summertime, and in climates where you are dealing a lot with snow, low temperatures, and then you should be welcoming this sun during the winter time. But when we talk about the sun, we don't want you to mix with the other strategies that we are presenting here, because I believe that when you are looking at the orientation of your building, this is basic design. So you should be very aware of how you are working with the sun in favor of your thermal comfort. So to illustrate everything that I spoke about thermal comfort, here on your screen you see one of the studies that Ugreen performed for a client. So the red lines that you are seeing in these graphs, they are the temperature oscillation in a typical summer day and in a typical winter day. And this is for my location here in the south of Brazil, in Curitiba. And that blue ribbon that you see also across the chart is the comfort zone, the thermal comfort zone. That's where we should be. But you can see that in typical summer day, which is the graph that it's in the top of this screen, that the red line goes, it starts at a nice level, but as the day starts progressing and the sun is getting hotter, this line actually stays for a great number of hours outside this comfort zone. And in the winter, you can see that this does not happen. We stay in a comfort zone for many more hours than we are out. And with the use of simulation, we have managed to create strategies and design strategies that helped us minimize this. And now we have a project that is completely inside the comfort zone completely. So was it simple to reach this solution? No, it wasn't. We had to work with the entire building envelope. We had to use shading devices. And these shaded devices, they are both vertical and horizontal, as you can see in this project. And with the many things that we adjusted in this project, we also got to earn more hours during the winter in the comfort zone. But that didn't affect it a whole lot, the project, which is very important. I have to say to you, when you are analyzing your strategies, make sure that they are positive for every single strategy that you are tweaking here. Because if you start tweaking on one side and then you get bad things on the other side, then maybe you don't want to use these strategies. You need to balance them out. See that they are working with you, and don't go blindly just trying to solve in, let's say, thermal comfort when you are probably then jeopardizing light comfort, which we will see very soon. So to me, thermal comfort is one of the biggest issues, and it needs to be treated by somebody that knows exactly what it's doing, knows how to work simulation, knows how to use the strategies very well, and put together a set of working strategies for each case. And you can be one of these specialists. You can keep studying thermal comfort. It's something that people are very much interested. It's something that we have worked a lot with our clients. So here we end the chapter about thermal health, and we go into your vision health. And how can we improve the health of your vision? We are going to show you here strategies that have to do with natural light and artificial lighting. And lighting is one of my partner's favorite subjects to teach. He has put together many contents about natural lighting, artificial lighting, and also about building facades, because many architects do not pay attention on how the facade will work with the interior of the building. They usually are trying to convey something about the geometry or the looks, focusing on aesthetics when we have to focus not just on aesthetics, but also focus on how this facade will bring light, will bring ventilation, and will actually talk to the interior of this building. And sometimes this is not noticeable to the naked eye or to somebody that does not have a lot of knowledge with architecture and with thermal comfort or lighting comfort. But the people will feel the effect of having this done poorly. They will feel the effects on their health, and they will feel the effects on their body very soon. So let me show you some of his work. Here you have a study from natural lighting in a residential building. This study was actually published in an international magazine, and it was very good because, as you can see here, can you see here on screen? Yes. So as you can see, you have a very good light distribution on the plan, but you have a lot of glare. All that you see in yellow, it's glare. And all you see in the dark spots are areas that are not receiving a whole lot of lighting. And in this case here, he was following the LEED certification, to where we like these parameters. They are very good parameters, and they ask that you have 300 lux all year round in each of these spaces, minimum. So anything above 300 lux, it's good, but you have a threshold, and that is 1,000 lux. If you have anything over 1,000 lux, then you are in bad shape. So here what you have in a dark shade is less than 300 lux, and everything that it's in yellow, it's over 1,000 lux. So as you can see, we're in bad shape here on the before picture. So the before picture has a distribution of 84%, which is great. This is a good distribution. But as you can see, we already spoke about the glare, and 31% glare is a lot. We don't want that. So we use simulation to find the solutions, and we tested many different strategies inside this software so we could fix all this problem that we had. So we were able to maintain the 84% distribution, and we were able to lower the glare to 9%, which for the LEED certification, the threshold was 10%. So we were below this threshold and still maintaining the optimal distribution. So can you see how simulating your lighting can be very important for decision making? When you simulate, you're able to find cheaper or simpler solutions before you actually have to invest in something that it's more expensive. You're able to test out all your strategies and you will not waste your money with it. So let's talk about artificial lighting now. As you can see, we are using the Dialux EVO software. And when it comes to artificial lighting, we need to evaluate the reflectance. And for the flooring, you have a minimum of 20%. On the walls, you would have 50%. And on the ceiling, you would have to have 80%. And on the ceiling, it's a little higher because you would have to get this lighting to be distributed in the entire space. So the ceiling will get more of this reflectance. And just so you have some basis here, still using as a parameter the LEED certification, in residential spaces you would want 300 lux. In commercial areas you would want 500 lux. And when it comes to residential and you're talking about the kitchen area, then you want more. You want 500 lux. So all this can be adjusted and played with in Dialux. So we like to use this software, and there are many different reasons why we like. It's easy, it's user-friendly, and also it's free. So anyone can download it and use this, favoring the projects with good decisions. Another strategy that comes to the health of your vision is for you to have a task light. When you use a task light, you are able to give the person that it's on her desk this control. And it's very good because I am one that always need more lighting because I wear glasses. So having a task light definitely helps me out. There's certain spots that feel darker on my keyboard, and the task light helps a lot. And direct lighting for a specific task, it is also recommended because sometimes there's just one specific task that needs more lighting than everything else, and you don't want to have to install 500 lux for everyone when you just need 300, and on that specific corner you may need 500, 600, I don't know. And lighting also have a very important role in our circadian rhythm. So let's take a look on this timeline right here on your screen. And this has to do with the human evolution. So let's see here. So if you don't believe in human evolution, I suggest that you leave the webinar right now, because we're going to talk about this, and we're going to talk about the things that we have evolved through the years. So let's say that the human evolution started some 200,000 years ago. And more or less 125,000 years ago, Homo sapiens left Africa to populate Earth. So following the timeline, 40,000 years ago, we started seeing some paintings on the walls of caves. Some 12,000 years ago, we started producing more food, so we had to escalate our food production, and it became easier to have a meal. Then we jump right there to 6,000 years ago, And there's when cities start being founded. Some 400 years ago, so now we forget the thousands, we go to 400 years ago, we start working and producing services. We start trading things for services. And it's been only 200 years that humans met the electricity and artificial lighting. And like any other new technology, we thought we could live just on electric lighting. And why is that? Because we thought, like if we have natural lighting, good. But if we don't have, we can use artificial lighting, it will be okay. What we didn't know then is that that natural lighting is what our body responds to. So it does make a difference when you have artificial lighting and when you have natural lighting. And if we stop to think about it, it only makes sense. Our body has been in this evolution process together with the planet. So we are used to the darkness and the sunlight. And our body works with that too. Let's say, like your stomach produces enzymes right around the time where you feel hungry and when you need to digest that food. So your stomach, it's preparing itself. And when you look outside and when you see like, oh, it's around midday, I need to eat. It's dark, I need to go to sleep. And if you work in a space, in a dark space, or if you are away from daylight, your body starts losing reference and it starts losing the time when it needs to produce those enzymes, where it needs to start turning off your brain to go to sleep. And then you realize you cannot go to sleep because perhaps you live in an apartment building where somebody has a huge lit sign and it doesn't let you go to sleep because it blinks all night long and you start losing quality of life. And it's hard for us to adapt because we spend a great number of years. You can see here thousands and thousands of years working with natural light. It's only 200 years that our body has been exposed to artificial lighting. This is nothing compared to the 200,000 years that we've been evoluting and we've been creating this connection with our evolution and the planet's evolution, and we cannot just not think about our circadian rhythm and ignore it completely when we're talking about our design. And even though we put the circadian rhythm inside our vision health here, our vision health strategy, it has to do with many other strategies. We're talking about biophilic design, where we also have this connection with things that remind us of nature. So colors, plants, textures, anything that comes and reminds us of the actual raw nature creates a tighter connection with our body and we respond to it. So when you promote a nice view or a direct view where people can see movement, you can see daylight, you can see the city moving around, you can see birds chirping. It doesn't have to be that very paradisiac view, but it has to give you a sense of life, a sense of movement, light, and this connects and enhances the performance of the person inside of your building. So if you never thought of this, if you never included your circadian rhythm inside your design, you didn't use this strategy, you need to start right now, because this is very important and this is clearly one of the items that we like to emphasize when we're talking about quality of life and healthy spaces. So to wrap it up here, simulation is the future. It's a great tool for decision making, for strategies, you're designing your spaces, you want to make sure that you are attending all the standards and that you are offering a space that will actually work for your client. So make sure you simulate every single space. If you're an architect that does not like simulation, maybe you should give this to somebody else to do it for you, but don't leave it out of your project. This is something that we have achieved as professionals and we should use. It's a very good tool for us to enhance our projects. The second item on my little list here for us to finish this chapter is to create spaces that feel cozy, with a dim light or with a yellow light, and spaces proper to develop tasks with a colder light and more intensity of light. So here on your screen now, you can see a project where Ugreen worked as a consultant for the interior designer Flavia Kloss, and she actually won a competition. She went with Felipe to Europe to receive this prize. So continuing here with our strategies, we already started mentioning about biophilic design, and this is a great strategy because it brings very good benefits, big benefits, and has a relative low investment. So you can be playing with light, air, water, plants, animals, and fire, and you can use this to promote a better health response from our body. So moving to item number 4, we're going to talk about hearing health. And here in health, it's very important for you to be able to focus on something, for you to concentrate on a certain task. I think this is something that we can all relate to. When a place is very noisy, you're not able to absorb as much information as you need from a source, or you cannot identify the source where you're getting your information from. Noise pollution is a big problem nowadays, especially in the big city centers. So it's something we have to address. So we create places where people can actually relax, people can actually concentrate. I'm sure many of you can relate to this right now if you are able to do any type of home office and you have kids like me, like Felipe. We both have 2 kids, and they are very small kids, very energized kids, thank God. And we're not complaining about the kids, but we are complaining about the quality of time that we have to work now and things that we have to address with the background noise that is typical for parents. And in any other situation, I would be very happy that this is just a sign that they are healthy, that they like to play. But when you are facing with something that you need concentration, this happiness can become frustration. And this is not just me. This is in any situation where you are trying to concentrate and you're not able to concentrate. I just put this isolation situation because this is where we're living now. But think about it. In any situation where you have a lot of noise competing and you're trying to focus or you're trying to concentrate, you're trying to read something, you get frustrated. So a lot more than just the information is missed here. So we need to identify and eliminate the source of this discomfort, this sound discomfort. And one way to eliminate this is to pay attention to reverberation. And how does reverberation works? So the easiest way to explain this is to explain you by yourself in a very large space with no barriers, only 4 walls and you, and the sound will travel and it will hit a hard surface and will come back to you. So that's reverberation. And how do you avoid reverberation? because you don't want, your voice to be doubling in the air. So how do you avoid reverberation? And that is using acoustic panels, using furniture, directing furniture, or these acoustic panels, so you can control the way the sound travels, and you can control how much it is absorbed so it doesn't create that echo. In these acoustic panels, they should have like a minimum performance, and that would be the NRC of 0.7. That's the minimum we would recommend to have results. So this is something that I dealt with very much in the beginning of my career when I was working with Harvard Jolly, because as you know, we were designing school projects, auditoriums, libraries, and all these spaces where the teacher, whose voice it's its biggest asset, is trying to convey some kind of information, or the lecturer is trying to convey some type of information, and you have the students, and the students have their hearing as their biggest asset. That's where they are getting the information that the teacher is conveying. So these are two elements, two interactions with the hearing health and how it can affect your project. Very important that the teacher speaks and the student gets the right information. So the amount of acoustic panels that you should insert in a room, such as a classroom, it's equal to the same square footage as the ceiling, and it needs to meet 0.7. Another item that can contribute to the control of reverberation is cushioned chairs. You know, those chairs where you sit comfortably and they are cushioned. And they also have a coefficient number that can be inserted in your simulation in order to contribute to the results. And not just chairs and the cushions on the chairs, but tables and even people. There is a coefficient number that you can attach to the number of people inside of an environment. So the goal is to lower reverberation in any projects, and of course, especially in hospitals, schools, and perhaps in the creation of spaces where you and I can go in and meditate or concentrate in our tasks, anything to help. So each project will have a different approach and will also be working with different coefficients. So like I mentioned just a minute ago, for schools, this coefficient is 0.7. And each different space will have their own. And now we're moving to the external part of a building. My local authorities here in Brazil, they require that any building elements are tested in lab and also in the field. So you have a typical wall, and this wall needs to meet a certain isolation performance. And this goes to other building elements, such as windows, where you need to meet the minimum or the intermediate or the high level of performance. And then you need to calculate. You need to use these numbers that you have for the walls as an example. So you have this wall with level of performance, and then you decide if you want to insert a window in this wall so you can enhance air circulation and you can also promote better views. And then you put a window, and you need to know if you are maintaining the acoustical performance of this entire room, or if your window is jeopardizing the results here and you need to choose a different window. So this calculation is very important so you don't compromise the performance of the building elements when it comes to acoustic isolation. So for the most part, your hearing health that we have seen so far It's talking about reverberation, and it's talking about isolating the external noise. So let's say you live right nearby an airport and you need to isolate that noise. How do you create barriers so this noise does not come in? Another noise that we are always listening to, and sometimes we don't notice how much it's irritating us or taking away from our concentration, is the AC noise. The vibration that the air creates in the piping and also when it's coming out in the exhaust, how much this noise can really break your concentration or irritate you, create like a sense of stress without you even know that this is the source of your problems. And again, I will mention my experience with schools. And in school, the noise that comes from the AC cannot go over 40 decibels. And each type of project will have its particular threshold. So talking about thresholds and standards, for this chapter we have elected the ANSI 60. And since I'm talking about standards here, I don't know if I mentioned that for the thermal comfort, we are following ASHRAE 55. And in our simulations, we use PMV, which stands for predicted mean vote. And this allows us to understand how people interact better with the spaces that are being created and how comfortable they feel in it. So we analyze the humidity, the velocity of the air circulation, and we use the radiant temperature, and we also use the dry bulb temperature. The type of simulation that we do takes in consideration the amount of clothing that the person should be wearing in those days where you have a peak of energy use and also AC use. Being it for heating or for cooling, you need to analyze how the people are interacting with this. And we are always looking for the most updated and effective standards. We have our basic standards here in Brazil, but they are very basic compared to the level of efficiency and sustainability that we're looking for. So these standards that we use, they promote this safe cushion because everybody is already testing, has already been extensively tested, and we are relying on something that it's internationally criticized and being analyzed. So we are always looking for the most updated and recognized standard. And Felipe once told me about his ex-boss, and he said a very nice sentence that I would like to relate to you guys. But basically what he says is what gives architects recognition. It's knowing the standards, it's knowing the law and being able to speak comfortably with your client. Something that actually brings substance to your project. You're not just talking about ugly or beautiful. You're talking about delivering some value to this client. And here we are coming to the last strategy where we're going to talk about your posture and how this can also affect your health. And here we're talking about reanalyzing the environment you're already living in as an example and make all the necessary adjustments to make sure that you include the whole family in your house. So you need to measure every piece of furniture so you can adjust the heights. You can organize spreadsheets so you have control of information that you are gathering, and you can use this in your favor when you're trying to optimize these spaces. So you need to create a control of where you are aware of your users' necessities. But to be honest, here in Brazil and in the US that I know, we are already covered by the law. We already need to meet the law and we need to work ergonomics into our spaces. So this has been debated extensively and we're just going to go over real quick because it is important to know the flexibility of the furniture that you are installing. If you are taking in consideration the size of the people that are working or living in the spaces that you are creating, if you are aware that perhaps you have an old person living in this house and he needs to have corridors that will not hurt her or him, and also have space in between furnitures that allowed perhaps this old person to come in with her walker and keep going without any restrictions. So what do you get when you put together all these 5 strategies? And even though this may be simple strategies, a lot of people are not following these strategies. And when you put these 5 strategies together in one project, you will make a better life for yourself, for your clients, and for your family. So if you come across a project that involves learning, you will be able to improve the learning quality. And in any of these spaces that you create, if you follow these instructions and these strategies, you will be able to improve the sleep quality of the users. You will also be able to reduce the stress in the families, because people that are operating in a better environment, their well-being is also promoted and they are less stressful to be around. You will be able to enhance your humor and also your well-being. You will be able to reduce your chances of catching or developing a disease. And trust me, everything that we have presented here, you can do it yourself. You may need some help simulating if you never did it before, but that's about it. Everything else, you will be able to analyze your project and go back to it and realize that are some basic stuff that you could be inserting and make it more sustainable. So answer in your mind honestly. If you were to do this yourself, if you decided to start studying now and start learning all the strategies and start reading all the standards and starting to apply test and error, how much time would you use? And I'm willing to bet here that you will be able to sit through this for at least a couple of years. You will need that. You will need that time so you can make sure that you cover it all, that you tested it all, and that you discard the ones that do not work for you. And like I said, this can be time consuming, and when you're consuming time, you're also consuming your money. So it can be very expensive when it comes to start this from ground zero and not following this shortcut that we are offering you right here. And when I talk about shortcut, I'm not talking about jumping stages here. You will be learning the important stuff in the right order. We will present to you what comes before, what comes after, so you don't waste your time trying to figuring this out. We're going to lay it out to you, everything that you need to do step by step, so you can actually put this into practice as soon as possible. These are already all the standards, everything that we have already applied to our careers and that we're going to be able to bring it to you in a reduced amount of time. So if you're interested in this shortcut, then you want to come with us and join us with our course, Sustainable Interior Designing. And Felipe and I put this course together back in 2018, but calm down. What I want to say is that even though we made this course in 2018, we have been updating this course throughout the years. And our main idea when we created this course was to bring health and well-being into the spaces and for the users that are enjoying these spaces. So we went after the most updated standards and the most updated techniques, using as basis certifications, green certifications like LEED, WELL, and also standards such as ASHRAE 55, ANSI 60, ASHRAE 90. And we compiled everything for you here in this course. We gave absolutely our best in order to bring to you in an easy way to absorb all this kind of information in ways that you can pick up this information and apply to your real life. You will have a clear set of strategies. You will have spreadsheets that you can use as your tools to guide you, because our goal is that you come out of this course and you can really design a healthy project, a sustainable project, and you can bring this to your clients. We truly believe that people are going to look at health and well-being and spaces in a different way when we come out of this situation that we are living with COVID-19. So it's not anymore the health that you go to the gym and then you take care of your food and you're okay. It's something that will involve a bigger perspective, and you will start looking at spaces to complement this well-being, this health, and this state of health that people will be looking for and giving a different weight in their lives to this kind of information, to this kind of spaces, to this kind of value. And Sustainable Interior is a training that will present step-by-step process for you to create this high-performance interior design project. And you will obtain more recognition, growth, and income into your office. You will learn strategies to carry out healthier projects that will also be more economical and productive. You will create a showcase for more indications to more and more projects. In this course, we will bring sustainable strategies that will add great value to your projects and will create new services in your company perhaps. And because of these new possibilities, we will also give you lessons to improve your positioning in the market and present your service with superior results. So that way you'll be able to stand out and don't blend in with the crowd. And one thing I promise you guys will get is the way that Felipe works. He is always creating strategies to improve our productivity in our office and also to make our lives easier. So, of course, this wouldn't be missing when we are trying to teach strategies. We're also trying to teach you how to make this the easiest way and create processes so you will be able to apply this in an organized manner and you will become very efficient in applying this. And once you get this into your DNA, you will be able to have a highly influential office and you will be using world-class techniques. So this recognition can come from anywhere in the world. So here's your training guide. In Module 1, you will find behind the scenes of a sustainable interior design project. You will understand exactly what makes a project sustainable. You will understand what changes behind the scene in your firm and how you can make this visible in your practice, and also how to best use the material that we're going to present to you during the other modules. On Module 2, we're going to go ahead and talk about natural and artificial lighting. And this is something that you want to decide early on so you can position your openings, you can enhance the natural lighting into the spaces, and all this needs to be simulated. And so it's very good that you have this first. You get this out of the way and you start using these strategies. On Module 3, we will talk about thermal comfort and all the strategies that you can make this a comfortable space for the user. One thing it's good to notice is that we will talk about hot climate and we will talk about very cold climate too. So I know we are in Brazil, but this course is very complete in the sense that we are aware that we may be talking with people that are right now in regions with a lot of snow or we may be talking to people that are sitting across from the ocean in a beach side. We don't know. So we will make sure that we will address both situations in a thermal comfort module. Then comes module number 4, where we will talk about the water, reducing water consumption. And you may think that perhaps reducing water consumption it's nothing related to health. But the water crisis is something very much related to health. And even though it's not nothing that you will get immediate results, it's something that we are creating for the future. So reducing our water use is critical to the future of our water and the purity of our water. So it does have to do with our health. Module number 5 will talk about sustainable materials, how to recognize sustainable materials when you don't have a label or you don't have a test that you can look at. So we want to make sure that the biggest amount of people get in contact and learn how to recognize and use sustainable materials. And to your health directly, these sustainable materials have to do with VOCs that may be expelling into the air and contaminating the air you're breathing. Also, it has to do with proper extraction. We know that in the world, the materials may be extracted by people in slavery-like situations. And we don't want to bring any material that has been extracted this way into a place that it's supposed to mean health. So yeah, we will cover all the bases that you will have a sustainable and safe material to bring into your project. Module 6 will talk about acoustics. We will be visiting all the acoustical phenomena that can occur in a space. So after seeing each one of them, you will learn how to work with them. On Module 7, we will talk about air quality. And nothing more appropriate than to talk about air quality and how to maintain this air quality and to maintain this air not polluted and transmitting. Definitely something we've been talking about a lot lately. But anyways, Module 8 will talk about energy efficiency. And yes, that's a lot that you can do in your interior space. Energy efficiency is not just for whole buildings. We can talk about saving energy in an interior design project. And Module 8 is just that. Module 9, we will talk about movement, mind, and community. And when we talk about movement, it's how people will navigate through your project, how the spaces can interconnect, and what makes a difference and what not when it comes to your health. You also will talk about mind, and that is about how your psychological respond to the things that you are creating inside this space. This has to do with your psychological health. Very important module. And then we're going to talk about community. And community is not the community outside your project. It's much more the community that becomes inside your project. It's how family relate to each other inside this project. Yes, the built environment can create hardships for a relationship. It's also, let's say you're designing for an office and how the people in this office is relating and is using these spaces and the sense of community becomes into this space. So yes, community has to do with interior design a lot and it's very intimate into this kind of project. So you can see now on your screen the different classes in each module. It's a lot of classes. And let me tell you, each of these classes, we will go step by step with you. And when I say step by step, let's take as an example the Dialux Evo simulations as an example. Felipe will simulate everything from the beginning with you on screen. So you will be able to get each of these steps and don't miss anything, and your simulation will come out exactly of how the class is telling you. You will not be lost. It's not going to be something that he will give you a direction and wait for you to arrive there. He will take you there. The entire course has 42 videos. Each of the modules that I just presented to you have a workbook. And once you start this module, you can go ahead and download this workbook so you can start using as the classes progresses. And these guides you can take with you not just to the classes, but to your office. Once you feel like you're ready to start applying this, when you can put this into practice, and I'm going to tell you it's going to come sooner than later, you will be able to use these workbooks as guides, and you can leave it in your office and you can always go back to it and look for different strategies, perhaps something that can complement your project at that time. You also have a support system where you can send your questions 24/7, and we will be answering within 24 to 48 hours. Your access to this material is unlimited. Your training is 100% online and you can watch anytime you want. With this course, basically, you will be able to transform the way your company works. You will be able to offer high performance projects, performances that can affect positively the people and the society and the environment. And you will increase the scope and the number of projects that you will be acting on because you will differentiate from the rest of the crowd. Your company will win customers that will pay more for the services that you are willing to offer because people pay for value. And when you bring health and well being to their life, this is value that they cannot put a number to it. So you will be able to put a number for them and they will recognize this value. This course has changed the lives of many architects here in Brazil. One of them is Marina and Isaac. These guys, they are doing such a great job in Rio. They have changed their practice. They have changed the direction of their office, and now they are being invited to many places where they can expose their work, where they are creating projects that are focused in sustainability and health, and they are being recognized for it. And they are so strong with it. They are actually putting courses together too to their local community. And it's great because that's what we want. We want to multiply this kind of knowledge. And we have more. We have Marcella Green that is working in Brasilia, which is our federal district. She's also doing a great job. She's one of those girls that she took the course and the next day she was applying. A few days later, she was reporting how successful this has been for her. Mauding is also on your screen here, and she is with us since 2016 when Ugreen started. And she's still with us, and she promises she will keep with us as we keep progressing. So this kind of recognition is very good. And I know I'm talking about a lot of people here from Brazil, and of course, this is where we act the most. But this course is built upon international standards. We have used international standards for this course. We have used international strategies with international certifications like LEED and WELL. Those are international certifications and they have strategies that are applicable to any project anywhere. So feel comfortable. We're just using more examples because these people, they are ahead of other students. We have students in Portugal, we have students in Russia, we have students all over Latin America. Now we have put this webinar in English and we have put this course in English. So we hope to reach many more people with these strategies and with this combo that we have created with our blend. And talking about our plan, we have here some bonuses too that we will throw in with this course. And the first bonuses comes from the interior designer Flavia Close. Flavia Close, she has put together a mind map, and this mind map will show you exactly where each of these strategies that we are teaching will fit into a project chronogram. So the project timeline is depicted here, and you will be able to see clearly where to insert each one of these strategies that we're teaching. The second bonus is some extra classes that we have recorded and put together for you. One of them is about the integrative process. Integrative process is a way to work with your team in an integrated form, how to bring your team together into the same mindset, and you will be able to manage them very well. And if you haven't worked with the integrative process, I'm telling you, after you see this, you won't want to work any different because it's an organized way and you will be able to have collaboration from everyone from day one. And the second class is also one of mine, and it has to do with bringing health to the construction field. Exactly. If you are working and you're designed a health project, it's only fair that the people that are constructing this, that are putting together your project, they also have a very health environment to work with. So I like to put this into detail so also the workers will have a better work environment, and you will be able to manage and understand how much savings you will gather with materials and also sick days if you follow some simple measures to create a healthy environment in the construction field. The third extra class is one that Felipe will teach you, and he will teach you how to put together a sustainable design briefing. It's different because you want to make sure you enhance everything that you are putting into your project about health, about sustainability, and the extra value that this person will have once she gets this kind of project. So it's very important that you modify the briefing that you're using right now. The fourth class has to do with a proposal, just because the same thing I spoke before, you were talking about a different kind of project. So you want to make sure your proposal reflects that too. And we're not just talking about it, we will have examples, real life examples that you will be able to use as sample. We will give you a briefing sample and we will give you a proposal sample, and you can start designing yours from that. So do you see how we are not just teaching you the technicality of being a sustainable interior designer, but also that we are linking all this to the real world. We're putting you with tools that you can bring your projects to the real world. It's not just theoretical, it's not just technical, it's also business. How can we make this work for you right now? So let's review here what you could be getting in this package. And we start with the Sustainable Interior Designing course for $997. Then we have the chronogram from Flavia Close. That is an estimated value of $597. Your bonus for a briefing and a proposal, that is an estimated value of $297. And then we're going to give you the briefing and the proposal samples that are probably $397. And then the first class interior design course, that is at $497. So you can see on your screen how much this adds to. But we know that's not the reality. It's not anyone's reality nowadays. We know we are facing a crisis right now, an economical crisis, but we also know that it's during this kind of time that we reinvent ourselves. that we take time to learn different skills, to look at our profession and to look at ourselves and see how can we make it different, how can we make it better, how we can come out of this better. And so we as an entity, we have to have a cost for our work, but we will put a cost that is accessible to you and is accessible to us.
And in this webinar, it's going for $97. That's it, $97 for you to start designing differently and offering your clients different solutions and different values.
So if you want to start with us today, click on the button on the right of your screen, and you will be able to join us in this sustainable interior design course that, like I said before, brings health, wellness, and brings more positivity to the people you are designing for. And to give you as much insurance as possible that you are safe with us, we have a 30-day money back guarantee. If you bought this course, you went to the classes, you watched part of the classes during this 30 days and you didn't like it, or you didn't think it was for you, we'll give you money back. No questions asked. And we give you this 30 days money back guarantee because we know you're going to like it. We worked hard and we researched and we are doing our best to give you a high quality course content. We have a very low request for money back here at Ugreen. We have 0.66%, while in the online world, 12% is a good percentage. So I am very proud to say that as a business owner, to have that kind of feedback from the market, that's exactly what I want. This tells me that we're going in the right direction and that we are giving value to people. You can see Elena here on your screen, and she was a professor at a university. She took our course and she says we exceeded her expectations. Another student of ours is Christiane Theus, and she says it's easy to make a beautiful project, but it is something else to make it beautiful and sustainable. These are for a few, and she says that the training showed her that. We also have Virginia Purper. Virginia said that she feels safer now to present sustainable strategies to her clients, that she knows that she has the right processes and that she will be able to close. We have Bruna Medeiros. She says it was easy to navigate, is just watch and put into practice. And like them are many. We had over 500 people taking our course. Among them were architects, interior designer, students, decorators, construction company owners, project manager, civil engineers, and people that are into bricolage and that love interior designing. So if you want to transform your projects into high-performance environments, if you want to create a positive impact into your clients and the environment, if you want to generate growth to your business, being it in scope or in number of projects, if you want to attract clients that pay for value, not your hourly, this is the training for you. I suggest you sign in. You will not regret. We gave you here a very special condition, plus you get all the bonuses too. If you choose to buy it later, if you need to think more, it's okay. We cannot guarantee the price though. The price is just for who is in this webinar and is taking action right now today. It's an opportunity. And talking about opportunity now, I will take an opportunity to answer some of the questions that I see they have been popping up here on our chat box. And I think it's time for me to start answering them. The first question that I think I saw here is from Sandy. Sandy is asking me if she will be able to learn from this course since she didn't graduate it yet. Yes, absolutely, Sandy. Like we said since the beginning, this is a step-by-step course. If you haven't graduated yet, if you haven't been in touch with the professional side of it, it's okay. You will be able to use these strategies once you graduate. So I think it's actually very good that you learn before you graduate so you come out of school with everything round. I think it's perfect that you take this course right now. You will be able to come out much better. Because, once you are in the field, you create certain things, you create certain barriers, you create objections, or sometimes you're already working with a type of client that creates a lot of objections. And maybe this is the actual best time to take this course. So you come out with your mind set very differently and you already find different clients. You won't have to be like fighting for this. This will be part of your architecture from day one. Absolutely. I have another question here now. Landon. Landon actually just sent these questions. I need to go back to another one, but I already picked Landon now, so I will answer Landon. Landon just asked me if he can share his login. Yes, but I will tell you how. This supposedly is an individual course. It's an individual login, but you will be able to use this login in 2 IP addresses. Okay? Should you want to share with another person? Yes, you can. Should you want to share with many other, it won't be able to do it because it will block you. So be careful not to get blocked out of your course. You are able to share with another person, or if others use the same IP address that your email is registered to, or that you have your first access. This is where you will be able to do it. So why do we have 2 IP addresses? Because usually people watch it at work and they watch it at home. No problem there. Or sometimes they watch on their cell phone and in another device. You will be able to watch in 2 different places with the same login. How many people will watch with this login in these same places? We don't have control of that. We don't want to have control of that because in that case, the more the merrier. You're just sharing information. What we don't want and why we restrict to IP addresses is because, we don't want this course replicated or sell in the black market or if people are not actually serious about it and absorbing the content, and we have a control about the progress of each student. We watch the progress. We know that it's important to keep track of that. So if we have many people accessing one IP address, we don't have that quality of support that we want to give to the students. So in that case, I don't know if you want to share with another student or if you want to share with a coworker. If you guys are able to share the homework and the PDFs and the same IP address, no problem. So now let me go back to the questions because Lyndon just skipped here the line. But let me say, Nicole asked, Nicole, I don't think you were here for the whole thing because your question has to do with different climate strategies. I mentioned that in the beginning. We may be having students watching from a very cold place or a very hot place. And when we talk about climate strategies, we talk about both. We talk globally about climate strategies, and we will simulate both of them too. So we will talk about climate strategies from many different places around the globe. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but I put a timer here. So this timer is ticking, and it's not to make you anxious or nervous, but it's just to say how much time we have here in this webinar and how long will last this special offer. So remember, you will have the course, the 42 videos, the PDFs, the workbook, the chronogram, plus the bonuses classes, the mind map, and the masterclass, all for $397. That's a pretty sweet deal and will last while this clock is ticking. And I want to make sure that you get this. I also want to remind you that this course will have an unlimited access to you, a lifetime access. So don't tell me you don't have time to do it now. Actually, many people are at home now and they have time. And if you don't have time, if you're like me, that you're still working, you're still doing webinars with people around the globe, and you have 2 kids, then maybe you don't have time now, but you can make time later because this is a lifetime access, unlimited access to you. So, no problem. I'm sure that from now to the end of your life, you will have time. But what you don't have time is to have the same special offer. The clock is ticking for this special offer. So don't waste your opportunity because of time excuses. All right? When we want, we make time. With all this that is happening, I just finished a course at Harvard Business School. It was an online course just to enhance my knowledge in sustainable strategies for businesses. So I was there, I took the course, and I managed to find time between work and students and my kids. And this has to do with priorities. It's when we set our priorities straight, when we have a goal. I have a life-changing goal, and it's to bring as much knowledge in sustainability to my clients, to my students. So I'm constantly updating myself and looking for different strategies to make this work because I believe in a better world. I believe that we are the change. I believe that I have a responsibility because the construction field is the second most polluting industry in the world. And we are seeing the skies are clearing. People are seeing that the slowing down of our progress has shown a lot of progress in nature. We have seen the air clear, we have seen rivers clear, we have seen a lot of sceneries that we were not able to see before because of air pollution. And construction field is a big pollutant, and we need to make this a better practice. We need to take this into our responsibility, and we need to make this our job. So did you feel like a little pressure now? Yeah. It's funny because a lot of people have given me like so many different excuses, but the one that I don't believe is the one that it says, my clients don't value this. Maybe you are not presenting to your client the way that he will value this. Maybe he's not seeing the value because you're not showing him the value. And this is something that we talk about during the course. It's how do you put this weight on your services, how you show your services because you are bringing value. Everything that I have told you, all the numbers that I brought here to this webinar, they are from real studies. They are from real researchers that have been going after these numbers. It's not something that came out of my mind. It's not something that I put together here just to present to you real quick. It's something that it's been years and years of research, and we do have something very positive that we can bring to people with this kind of architecture. With sustainability, you can bring health and you can bring a better life and well-being to your clients. I don't know anyone that if you offer positive outcome to your health, positive outcome to the environment, who will say no? Who will say, give me the bad project? I don't want the good project. It's not, I play with this, but it's true. It's something that we need to learn how to present and how to show these values to your client. Life is changing as we're going through this pandemic. Life is changing, values are changing, and we will be able to look into our homes in a different way. We are looking into our health in a different way. We are seeing our fragility and we need to heal. So, yes, absolutely, I believe we'll come out of this much better, and sustainability will be something that will remain because it's the right thing to do. It's what the environment needs, and it's what we need to contribute to this change. And I think indirectly I already answered the question from Kathy here because Kathy says she is already working and she already has a line of work and she doesn't know how she could make this switch. Well, Kathy, it is a process, let me tell you. It is a process, and you will be able to see how to integrate every strategy slowly. One by one, you will be able to change something in your practice. Just don't believe that you will be able to, from night to day, come out with everything renewed. That's impossible. You have a business to run, so you will have to create a process to this transition. All right? You will be able to transitioning, like slowly start with things that are easy to change, like water savings or choices of materials. Slowly go changing your portfolio of materials that you're offering to your clients, things like that. And this is a message actually to everybody. Just don't think that if you don't apply everything at once that it's no value or no good. That's not true. You will be able to do this if you start slowly, if you start with a few strategies and then you progress to another that you have affinity with too. It's very important to say that it's impossible to be good in all of them. If you think you're going to take this course and you're going to apply everything yourself, it's hard. It's not easy to go 100% on this, but each module is a course in itself. And if you are good on 2, 3, or 4, or if you are good in just one, you're already ahead of a lot of people in this field because you are doing better. And every inch we move can make a whole lot of difference in the world we're living today. So don't feel like that you need to take this and take this 100% all the way. Another question I have here, it's from Mike. And Mike is asking me what kind of programs does he need to have. Look, Mike, to take this course, you don't have to have any specific programs or softwares or anything like that. You will be able to download the softwares for a simulation. Here, we are presenting to you a free software So you will be able to install and get going. Felipe will teach you in this course from the start. And from the start is going to the website and downloading the software and then starting with the first settings and everything. So yes, you will be able to take this, and if you don't have anything right now, you can download it and you will be able to work with free softwares. Everything else just requires you to download the PDF or the Excel file or the mind map. Nothing that will put a hold on you if you don't have different softwares or programs or anything like that. You just have to have a computer, you have to have internet, and your willingness. So unfortunately, our time is running out, and this opportunity is running out too. I will start saying my goodbyes here, and I hope you do join us at this course. You have a few minutes remaining, and I want to say thank you. If you are here until the end, it's because you are with your heart in the right place. You want to make a difference. You want deep down inside, you want to be part of this. So I welcome you to this mindset of sustainable projects, of healthy homes, and I would like to count with you maybe in a later date if you cannot right now. And if you can't, please welcome to our course. We are very excited to have you. We have, all the materials prepared with a lot of care, with a lot of dedication from me, from Felipe, from our crew that help us with the graphics and everything. It's very, very, very good that we are having the opportunity to talk to you in different parts of the world and bring this kind of material to many more people that we ever dreamed of. So thank you very much for your participation, and I see you next time.